Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
You're listening to an Anazal Ministries podcast.
Awesome. What if Peter Parker were mayor of New York City? This is Systematic Geekology. We are the Priest of the Geeks, and we are here asking this question today as part of our What If series, where if you're familiar with any of the What If comics in Marvel or the What If TV series, we kind of do that, but for a range of geek topics, this one happens to be Marvel oriented. So I am one of your geekologists, Kevin Schaeffer, and I am here with fellow co-host Alex Matthews. Alex, I'm very excited to record it with you today.
I'm so excited as well. This is going to be great.
Oh, this is great. This is actually our first time recording together, so this will be a lot of fun. And Alex, I know some of your interests, but I'm excited to get to know more about what you're geeking out on, and to talk all things Marvel. So this will be really great. But and before we get started, if you're listening, please rate, review. I know every podcast says it, but it really does help our show. We are also on YouTube and then all over our any podcast platform that you prefer. So go check us out. You can support our Patreon. We also have merch on our store. So, any kind of help there is greatly appreciated. Well, Alex, before we get into the main topic today, what are some things you've been geeking out on lately?
Lately, I've been geeking out on The Pit.
Yeah, great show.
That show is so good. But yeah, that's what I've been geeking out on. What about you?
It's really funny because I watched that back in I think it was like July or August, after the the hype was inescapable. And it was funny because I had never really watched a medical drama before, as popular as they are, but I just heard so much hype about it, and I love Noah Wyle, and so I binged that in a week. It was so captivating, and even though it's not a comfort show, I still could not turn it off. It was just, it sucked me in completely. But yeah.
It's so good. It's crazy how each episode is just an hour in the shift too. There's so much that goes on in that ER. I was impressed.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. And I mean, I know they have to take some creative liberties because I have, there's some of my former caregivers are nurses, and but the cool thing about that show is every scenario that happens is very realistic and very plausible. It's just for the purpose of TV, they have it kind of all happen in the same shift, which is the likelihood there is less so, but it works for the nuances of TV drama. But it's just excellent storytelling all around.
Oh yeah,
great show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have several things on mind. I've been watching a lot lately. The first is Welcome to Derry, which is I don't know, are you a horror or Stephen King fan at all? There's a ton. This is a huge year for Stephen King adaptations, but this is the new prequel series to it. So it's set, this season is set 27 years before the events of the first movie, and so it's and then the way they're kind of planning it is they're going to go back 27 years each season if it goes on long enough. And so they're exploring more of the lore surrounding not just Pennywise, but especially this show is very much a Stephen King universe as a whole. Kind of like it really gets into the mythology, and one of the main characters is younger Dick Halloran, who from The Shining and Doctor Sleep, and he's referenced in other Stephen King books. So like they incorporate him here. They also have like Mike from the It novel and the movies. Like his grandfather is one of the main characters here. But yeah, it's a really entertaining show. I'm kind of wondering where exactly it's headed because there are a lot of converging storylines and it has a lot of moving parts to it. But it's very entertaining. It comes from Andy and Barbara Muschietti, who are the creators of the It movies, like the most recent ones. And Jason Fuchs as well. So it's it's really entertaining. It's got some great horror sequences. I like that each episode is a full hour, so you really get time to spend here, and it makes the budget worth it too. Because that annoys me too when they have like these cute, massive budget series and it's only like 30 or 40-minute episodes. So here you get full hour-long episodes here. So I'm enjoying that a lot. I don't know. Are you so you like getting stuff like? Are you a fan of the It movies?
Yeah, I've seen the first two that came out.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that they were doing a series, a prequel thing.
It's really cool. I mean, part of it I think is like HBO's direction right now of being very IP heavy on stuff. They're invested. I mean, there's like the Harry Potter series, and then this, of course, all DC. But this one, like, it's still. I like that it has the same creative team as the movie, so it feels very much in the same universe. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan. So I'm watching that. Also, speaking of Stephen King, I saw The Running Man the other night, which I feel like, I know I'm doing kind of quick hits on these, but I really liked it actually. So it's getting a lot of negative reviews. So did you read either the novel or see the 80s movie?
No, I have not. I haven't seen anything about it.
So, like, I only did both recently. It's not one, like, of the Stephen King properties I had really any familiarity with before they started the trailers for this movie, because the reason I was so excited for this one is because it's Edgar Wright directed, and Edgar Wright is one of my all-time favorite filmmakers behind Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim. So I was really excited for that, but I only read the novel and saw the 80s movie just before seeing this, and so I came in pretty fresh, but also, I was able to tackle both of those and come into this movie and see both, like, the similarities and differences, because this one is a much more faithful adaptation of the novel than the 80s movie. The 80s movie with Schwarzenegger is a lot of fun, but it's like very 80s campy action movie that doesn't really have that much in common with the novel, other than sort of the initial premise, but even then it's kind of goes in a different direction. So this one, it's about a guy who in this dystopian sci-fi world where media is controlled by the government, and the poor are very oppressed. This guy joins one of the big, goes to compete on the biggest game show on earth, to get money to mainly because his daughter is sick. So he's trying to provide for them, and he's desperate, and so he competes on The Running Man, which in the movie and in the novel, the contestants have to survive 30 days on this epic manhunt where everyone is hunting them down. Their identities are out there, and they just have to survive, and it's sort of an unwinnable game. But it's interesting. Like, I'll talk about it more probably on a What's News episode, because I know like Andy and several others are big Edgar Wright fans as well, so I know we'll have a lot to talk about. But just my quick thoughts on it, I did like the movie. It like I said, it was more faithful to the novel. The ending is where it mainly diverges. But a lot of the criticism said that it didn't feel as much like an Edgar Wright movie, and I disagree. I thought a lot of the action, the humor was still there. Not as much humor as like the Cornetto trilogy or Scott Pilgrim, but it was still very much his DNA in the film. Not anywhere near his best, but I did enjoy it. So I'll probably talk about it more, but I recommend going and see it. And I mean, Glenn Powell, I thought was great for the role. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I say fun in this dystopian world. Like, there's still like really like dark messages there, and in some ways they do kind of like give it a more Hollywood treatment, and make it less dark than the novel. But I still think it's worth seeing. So I did that, and then just a couple other quick things. Frankenstein, which is another I'm going to go more in depth on in a future episode, but also a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, and so I was really excited about this one. I got to see it in theaters on Halloween night, even though it is on Netflix now. I rewatched it on Netflix, but this is easily one of my favorite movies of the year. Another one that I think it captures the spirit and tone of the original Mary Shelley novel quite well, but it does change plot elements, and it has Del Toro's distinctive vision. But I don't know. Have you heard about that or gotten to check it out on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Highly recommend. I know it's just like, it's one of those like, just Del Toro has, his films are so atmospheric, and the set design and the costuming alone are amazing. And I know you're a theater person as well, so I think you'll appreciate that. And the performances here are incredible. Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi as the creature, and then Mia Goth as Elizabeth. So yeah, I highly recommend that. Again, definitely one we'll be talking about more on the show, because there's so many themes and everything to dissect here. And then the last one I'll quickly hit on, which is, again, I'm giving kind of previews of things I'm going to talk about more in depth later on, but I know we got to get to the main topic. But the show Pluribus on Apple TV, this is the new Vince Gilligan series, who's the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. And this is his first, like, non-Breaking Bad universe thing in almost 20 years.
Wow.
And so the premise here is that this massive apocalyptic event happens, and now humanity is being controlled by this hive mind, but everyone who's left on Earth is extremely happy and peaceful. There's only one woman who remains unaltered by the hive mind, and so she's cynical and miserable in a world that is, in a way, like utopia, but it's also really creepy because it's kind of a very Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of atmosphere. It's a fascinating show so far. I mean, it's another one I'm curious about, like, wow, what do you do with it? It was an incredible pilot, and it's 3 episodes in so far. I just watched the 3rd one earlier today. But it's another one where there's so much to dissect, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. But yeah, if you're into any kind of, like, speculative fiction or sci-fi drama, definitely worth checking out. And Rhea Seehorn is incredible. So yeah, it's really exciting to see Vince Gilligan kind of return to sci-fi, because he started as a writer and producer on the X-Files before Breaking Bad. So yeah, I know I'm geeking out on a lot, but there's so much going on right now, so I'll have plenty to talk about for future. But also, real quick before we get into our main topic, how's the play going that you're in?
Oh, it's going really good. I got back from rehearsals today, and so we're going over more scenes, just running the show, because opening night is Black Friday.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay, that'll be busy. Yeah. What play is it?
It's a Hallelujah Christmas. It's a Christmas musical.
Ooh,
so
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. Well, we need to get, like, all the theater kids from Systematic Geekology on an episode at some point.
That would share all our experiences.
I'm down. And I'm sure you're excited for Wicked next week, because
I'm so excited.
Wait. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
I saw the first one, like, I think 3 times back to back.
Yep, me too.
So I'm excited for this one. Yeah.
It's one of the few I kind of think is, as much as I love the stage musical, I think the movie actually improves on it in some ways.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So it's, I can't wait for part 2, but got my tickets for next week. So very excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Alex, very excited for the main topic today. So again, as we alluded to at the beginning, we're asking the question, what if Peter Parker were the mayor of New York City? And this idea, we were bouncing ideas around for a What If episode, and this was just the mayoral election in New York had just happened, and I was like, ooh, maybe we could apply this to the Marvel Universe. And there have already been several Marvel characters become mayor, including Kingpin and Daredevil, but I thought, ooh, what would it be like if Peter Parker were a politician here? So before we get into kind of like our ideas here, what's kind of your background with Marvel, with Spider-Man? Any favorite characters?
Yeah, I grew up watching some of the Spider-Man TV series.
Yeah.
I saw all the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Spencer Garfield. Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Where did I get Spencer from? Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
You're good.
Oh, and I saw, it's basically I saw all the movies. So I think I'm pretty well rounded with Spider-Man. I've seen a couple things in the comics, not all of them.
Sure.
So I think I should be good with this episode.
It'll be fun. I think. Well, and it was similar to me. I grew up on the cartoons and the movies, and then read a lot of the comics. But we were Christian and Ashley is our resident Spider-Man expert on the podcast. That's his avatar. He's on vacation right now, so he couldn't be here for this one. But I'll love to get his thoughts on this too. But no, I mean, I think that's the great thing about Spider-Man as a character is that he is so universal that you don't have to be an expert on the comics or what. He's crossed into so many mediums that we all kind of have our versions of the character that we really love. In the movies, I love all three of them, but Toby will kind of always be my Spider-Man just because that was the first for me.
Yeah.
And, I'll always remember seeing those movies in theaters and the impact they had.
Yeah.
But I love Andrew and Tom as well. So yeah, and then the 90s cartoon was very influential for me as well. So yeah, that's kind of, but yeah. Are there any other Marvel characters you really love, either in from movies or TV or comics or anything?
Yeah, I love Loki. I recently finished his series on Disney Plus. I have mixed feelings about that, which I did talk about in another episode. And who else do I like? I like some X-Men characters. Phoenix, I don't know. She has a special place in my heart because I feel like she just struggles a lot.
Yep.
And Scarlet Witch, same thing. She just a struggle bus. Who else do I like? I like Storm. Storm is so cool.
Yep.
She's so cool. Black Panther. Hulk. He's amazing. Thor. He's also one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Venom is just funny in the movies. That's really it. Oh, Groot. Love Groot. He's just a
Groot, of course. I love it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I love it. That's a great roster, and it's I brought up Venom there because it is so I do love when I do the Sony movie universe especially is so specific and they're their interpretations of the characters, but I do love that they made Venom this comedic sci-fi romp kind of I haven't seen the most recent one, but I like the first two. They're campy and everything, but I thought they were fun.
Yeah, I saw the first. I didn't see the last one. I heard that it wasn't that good.
Yeah,
I still want to see it though.
I think it's still on Netflix, maybe. But yeah, that also tells you I haven't been rushing to watch it. That was what because I saw the first two actually in theaters, but I kind of dipped off the again the Sony non-Spider-Man cinematic universe after a while. But but I saw some of the earlier. But that first one, it really does hold up as genuinely entertaining. But yeah. But those are some great characters there. Maybe we can even find a way to incorporate them into what if Peter Parker story here. So okay. So now I don't know about you, but when I'm kind of especially in improv or something like that, I'm usually good at coming up with an initial starter of a story kind of thing, and then I need help fleshing it out from there. So I jotted down some notes for what I think is a premise here and an overarching, but I don't have a lot of details, so we can work on this to fill this in. But so my idea for if Peter Parker were mayor of New York City, and I am completely playing around with continuity here because I know there's a lot of events that happen. This is just sort of I'm taking the characters and I'm gonna kind of form my own continuity, because especially in Spider-Man comics and in comics in general, there's retcons and reboots and everything all over the place. So
Mhm.
I'm just kind of creating a story here. But my idea is that Peter is in his 30s at this point. He's married to Mary Jane. And he decides to run for mayor after Aunt May dies peacefully. This is one thing that I love Aunt May as a character, but this is one thing I think they just need to make happen at some point. Let her be and let her rest in peace. Because I think it would be not in a like overly sad way, but it's like, okay, she's getting up there. We don't need to have her forever. Like, people grow old and pass away. That's very natural. So I think like that would be the determining factor for him to have a sort of life change and career change here, because as much as Aunt May was instrumental to his life, because she didn't really understand what he was always doing as Spider-Man, she often condescended him for jumping between jobs and being basically like a teenager all the time. So I want to kind of mature Peter a little bit here. He's in his 30s. Aunt May dies peacefully. He says goodbye, and he's at this turning point in his life where he wants to see what he can do, not just as Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker, and see what he can do to make a more lasting impact on the city he's been protecting for years. And so he decides to run for mayor, very much inspired the mantra by the principles that were instilled in him by Aunt May and Uncle Ben. And of course, he's going to have, with great power, there must also come great responsibility somewhere in his campaign slogan. That's definitely going to be a big part of his campaign speech. And then I'm going to say he chooses J. Jonah Jameson as his deputy mayor, which, fun fact, like, Jameson has also been mayor of New York in the comics, but again, I'm playing around with continuity here. But I think this would be really interesting because after years of working under him, Peter wants to utilize Jameson's experience and mentorship. And even with someone who hates Spider-Man, his idea is that if J. Jonah were ever to find out about Peter's identity, working close to him might pave the path for maybe changing his perspective, and they can become like really sincere allies. And then on top of that, I don't know if you know this, but J. Jonah Jameson's dad married Aunt May in the comics, too. So they have also this familial, personal relationship. And so I think it would be a really cool dynamic if the two of them were running the city. And then, this is where we can kind of fill in the gaps here, but my overarching idea for how the rest of the story plays out is, of course, he's going to struggle to balance his responsibilities as mayor and his role as Spider-Man. Villains like Mr. Negative and Hammerhead are fighting to control crime in New York City and take down what's left of, I'm going to say, Kingpin's empire has kind of diminished at this point, and maybe Kingpin's in jail, but all the other crime lords are fighting for control. So there's still chaos there that Spider-Man has to tend to, but he's also trying to do a good job as mayor, and so he's torn between that, his family life, Spider-Man, and I think this is where I'm curious to see what your thoughts are here, but I think at the end of this story, because I'm thinking this is, very self-contained, very much like a what-if episode, so plays out over a period of time, and I think toward the end of the story, Peter's at this crossroads where he really does have to choose which path to take, and I think here he wants to really commit himself to being mayor and tend to the city, and then while he still can be Spider-Man, as sort of a backup or in a mentor role, I think this is where he hands the bulk of Spider-Man responsibilities over to Miles and lets him really take on the role fully, because they're for a long time Peter and Miles existed in separate universes, but then they coalesced. They brought Miles into the main Marvel timeline, and so that's where I'm playing with here. And I think like he's ready to have Miles step up and become the Spider-Man, and Peter take more of a mentorship role. So that's kind of my overarching idea. What are kind of your thoughts, or do you have like anything you want to like throw in there too? Because I know I left plenty of gaps there.
Yeah, no, kind of sort of along the lines of what you were saying. I was thinking like Peter becomes mayor, I'm coming like after whichever movie this was, when Doctor Strange kind of like cast that spell that wiped everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
After No Way Home.
Yes, No Way Home. So
Yeah.
he becomes mayor after No Way Home, so nobody knows that he's also Spider-Man.
Ooh,
and
good,
so like kind of like a clean slate, sort of, I guess. So
yeah.
And he's like struggling between like balancing wanting like being mayor, but also like showing up as Spider-Man at the same time because things are catching up. And so I didn't really get far with my thought, but yeah, mainly him struggling with balancing the two, and then also like eventually realizing, well, hey, I can't be both. I gotta pick one. And then here comes Miles somehow in the storyline. And
Yes.
He like Miles becomes his apprentice and he like helps him be the next new Spider-Man for NYC. So that was what I was thinking. I also had gaps in there, but that was basically like my thoughts.
That's actually a great idea, I think, for the MCU, because I think, like, I was coming at this, like, from our comics, but that's right. I mean, again, going back to Spider-Man is so universal and has different mediums, that's actually a great point, because, yeah, it makes me really interested in seeing what they're going to do with Brand New Day next year. Because, like, No Way Home does change everything for Peter Parker, and this is that would actually be a perfect storyline too. Like, I love that idea where it's like you let some time pass. He's trying to figure out what to do next, and then like I mean that would be a perfect way to bring in Miles, and he tries to like enters politics. He goes to become mayor, and then that paves the way for him and Miles. So I love that. I mean, I think that because there are so many lingering threads there after No Way Home, and where does he go from here?
Mm-hmm.
And also we both had the idea of it's in the wake of Aunt May's death, and the weight that has on his shoulders, and it does really put him at a turning point in his life.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. Do you have I know I mentioned Hammerhead and Mr. Negative here as kind of like crime lords. Are there any other, because you grew up on the cartoons and stuff too,
mm-hmm.
Are there any other villains you would want to see in this storyline play out?
Yeah, I would. Sandman comes to mind.
Yeah.
Who else would be good? I think it would be funny to have, I forgot his name, but the Rhino guy.
Oh yeah, Rhino. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just Rhino. Yeah.
I think I got that from the video game. I don't know.
He's great in the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think that would be cool, especially with him and Miles teaming up. Like a little street chase type thing. And that could be their first meet. Peter would be really in trouble, and then here comes Miles, and then Miles is like, "Wait, you're the mayor?" That'd be cool.
That would be awesome, actually. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Who else would be good in there? Goblin, the Goblin guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He has to be in there. Yeah. I mean, that's all I could think of. Really, that would be good. Maybe the Kingpin.
Yeah.
Maybe Kingpin. Try to start a coup against Peter's thing, or they could be what's it called? Running against each other or something.
Yeah. Because it's one of those, right? Because, Kingpin was mayor in the comics for a while, and he had actually Matt Murdock as his deputy mayor. It was a really cool story, but they obviously haven't done that in, I take the back. They've done it in Daredevil. They haven't brought that into the movies yet, but Kingpin is mayor in Daredevil Born Again right now, and so there's a lot they could do there. I think that, in both these cases, because I don't know if you watched Daredevil Born Again, but since we're in the MCU, Kingpin is mayor right now, but it's where season 1 leaves it and setting up for season 2 is Daredevil and some of the heroes are joining forces to try to take him down in season 2. So I think and season 2 will come out before Spider-Man Brand New Day, and so I think with that it would be a great opportunity there for a slightly older Peter to then once Kingpin gets taken down, he steps into this role. So yeah, it would be really cool.
Yeah.
but yeah, but I love that idea. I mean, there's so much fun we could have with these. I feel like, and I would love to hear people in the comments too, like see what their thoughts are. But yeah, I mean, it's the one thing is, Christian and I have had this conversation about like Spider-Man and Batman of like, can they ever be happy? And I think they certainly can. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily in both of our ideas here. Peter has to completely give up being Spider-Man, but he, again, is moving into sort of a mentorship role, and letting Miles take the reins. So it is more of a passing the torch. And that allows him to, because again, I think the whole genesis here is that he wants to make a lasting impact on the city and not just be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man forever and just put away bad guys, but also, utilize his past, his experiences, his influence to also help everyday people, because that's what makes him the opposite of someone like Kingpin. Is he comes from these humble roots, and he knows what it's like to struggle, and he doesn't have massive power, and he's used to living paycheck to paycheck and trying to pay rent, and he knows the struggles of an everyday citizen that he wants to help them. And so that's where he can really focus on, and then let Miles, take over main superhero responsibilities.
Yeah.
I like it.
That'd be interesting. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alex, do you like the idea of like Peter and MJ ending up together and being happy, or like you have like another like as he does have other love interests and stuff, or like
would you
prefer him settling down with someone or being alone? Like, what's kind of your thoughts there?
I think he deserves to settle with somebody.
Yeah.
Especially with all the crap that he has to go through.
Right.
He deserves to at least settle down with somebody. And for me, it's always been MJ. Like growing up, MJ was always the love interest. I have who's Gwen Stacy, respectfully. But yeah, so I prefer MJ because that's who I'm used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he deserves to be happy with somebody. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I think especially with our growing up, like in the cartoons and in the movies, like I know they brought Gwen Stacy in the Andrew Garfield movies, but I think the big reason they didn't have her in like the 90s cartoons and like the Raimi Toby movie. Well, they did have her in the third one, but it was kind of like it was really underdeveloped. But but in the cartoon stuff, because Gwen Stacy has the history of she does die, which they she's killed by the Green Goblin, and they did that in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. But that's obviously a really dark storyline to like get over to kids, and Gwen's been fascinating because she was dead in the comics for a long time, and then they, with the multiverse and the Ultimate Universe and all that, they brought her back as I know it's a headache inducing thing, but also that paved the way for Spider-Gwen, which is one of the best characters, and that's what I love about the Spider-Verse movies is like she's excellent there, and so that's kind of I think like this new generation, that's how they're going to know Gwen Stacy as the cool Spider-Gwen from both like the Spider-Verse movies and the comics, and then even my nephews watch Spidey and His Amazing Friends on Disney Plus, and it's a team of Peter, Miles, and Gwen, and so like they're going to grow up knowing them probably even more than Peter and MJ. So it is really cool that there is
I forgot that she came back as Spider-Gwen. Now that I think of it.
Yeah. That's it. Well, I mean, because it's such a different version of her than like the one from 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
And so like, but I love what they do with her there.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, this is I feel like we've got really some ideas here on like themes where the story wants to go, but but I would love to see this as like one thing like the Disney Plus What If series. I feel like I really liked season 1, and after that, I mean, it's still cool, but I would love to see real stories like this where I feel like they're trying to just like do fun MCU stories and then also doing this big multiverse stuff like that. I feel like they could do stuff like this where they're not tied to like one continuity, and so they could really have fun with it. So this would be a great story to do as an episode there, and they can really play around with characters and not be so tied to only characters we've seen in the MCU before, but they could play with different comic iterations and make their own things. Because that's what I always loved about the What If comics is they really just let writers and artists run wild and come up with all these stories. I have on my desk up there What If Captain America were revived today. So like it's like he's I mean that was in like I think in like 80s or 90s. So but it just like had him brought it like being woken up in a different time period instead of in the 60s when he was originally and formed the Avengers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love, storylines like that where it just like, one little change can alter the course of events.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Awesome. Well, this is so much fun. Do you have any other like things you want to add here, or before we get into, we'll do recommendations and we'll also do a bonus question, but is there any other like even just wild idea or stories for like Peter and Miles here that you would want to see?
Yeah, like I was just thinking about it as you were talking, like what if like Peter becomes the mayor of New York City, but like with all the trauma that he went through with like being Spider-Man and all of that, it makes him so paranoid and like not crazy, but like he becomes so controlling that he like becomes the tyrant of New York because he wants to keep everybody safe. And then Miles has to he has to step up because that's not cool, and they have to fight. Like what it like that? I think that would be interesting because like in Peter's head, he's trying to protect everybody, but with everybody else, it's like no, you like we like this is a prison. Like we feel like a prison. Like we like it's so strict. It's too strict. Like you're trying to keep us safe, but it's actually hurting us as a people. Like I don't know. I think that would be a cool twist. Like Peter being the villain when he's trying not to be.
I love that idea. No, that's brilliant. I mean, like, well, and also, especially when you look at the MCU version, look at who he was mentored by, Tony, who also has like very like, and I mean, what they're doing now with the MCU, where they're having RDJ play Doctor Doom, and as like a Tony variant. I mean, I know that's all. Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. It does too.
I saw that, and I was like, what?
I have so many thoughts on it. I know that's a whole other episode there, and we'll have the Doomsday trailer in about a month, and we can get into all that. But it is with Peter being mentored by Tony in the MCU, Tony also has this mentality of do everything for the greater good, that can also be blinding as well. And and like you said, with Peter coming off the most traumatic point in his life with Aunt May's murder at the hands of Green Goblin, and it's only through Andrew Spider-Man and Toby Spider-Man help him bring him back from the abyss there, but that doesn't mean he's and now even more so of no one in the world remembers him, and he's alone more than ever, and there's a lot to reconcile with, and so he can easily be blinded by his own ambition and what he thinks is right, and I absolutely think that would be a great storyline to play out where Miles has to kind of save him from that, and they do get out, and then he has to show him the error of his ways. I think that's great. Yeah, yeah,
and maybe not just Miles fighting him, but also Andrew Spider-Man and Toby Spider-Man come in probably at the last tail end before Peter almost offs Miles, and they're like, "Wait, this isn't who you are," and the three of them fight. That'd be cool.
That would be so cool. Writing this movie right now. I love it. But yeah. I love it. Yeah. This is the fun. That's what I love about these premises. We can just kind of run wild, and maybe if Kevin Feige is listening out there, I'm sure he listens to this podcast, so he can take our ideas here. But yeah. I mean, hey, I think that is infinitely more fun than a lot of what's been shown in the multiverse. Oh, it's more multiverse saga, the MCU.
Multiverse, man.
It's been so messy. So I like ones where they actually have dramatic weight to them on the stories that are, even though it wouldn't happen in the main continuity, it's really fun to play with. But yeah, so I love it. Awesome. Well, those are kind of our thought. I love those, Alex, and yeah, great ideas there. I mean, I know this is kind of like just kind of throwing out a bunch of ideas here, but I think we're pretty in sync in terms of like what we would want to see both in movie form and in comic form, and this would be a really fun storyline to play out. And I think ultimately it's a similar ending where he would go through a lot of trials, he would go through maybe a dark turn, but ultimately people, I think, like even J. Jonah and then Miles. MJ would help kind of bring him back and help him set a clear path forward. But yeah, I think we both like this idea of him coming to grips with his responsibilities and then really committing himself and then handing over the mantle of Spider-Man to Miles fully, and him being there as a mentor. I think I like that a lot. But yeah. I know you just read some of the comics, but there's one I really recommend called Spider-Man Life Story, which the idea behind that is it's only 6 issues, and the idea is like, because in comics it's like these characters have been around for 60, 80 years and like they never age, like that, Spider-Man is still probably a teenager, 20s, and Batman's still, like middle-aged at best. The idea with Spider-Man Life Story is it sort of takes the big events from the comics and it makes it play out in as if it were in real time. So Peter actually ages and he goes through his life, and so it takes concepts from the different eras, like starting with the 60s and going through the modern age, but it lets Peter age, and so it tells a cohesive narrative there. That one's really good, and I feel like it plays a lot with what we're talking about here. So that one's really good. So it's written by Chip Zdarsky, and art by Mark Bagley. Really recommend that one.
Nice.
So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Well, and speaking of, we'll get into recommendations in just a sec. And also, stick around for our bonus question for our Patreon subscribers in just a bit. The bonus question will be, what other character in the Marvel Universe would you like to see run for office? And that could be anything, president or a senator or whatever, but so we'll get to that. But Alex, do you have any recommendations either related to this topic or really to anything you just want to give a shout out to?
Yes. Obviously watch The Pit if you guys haven't. And any content related to Spider-Man. So like Tobey Maguire movies, Andrew Garfield movies, Tom Holland movies, the video games, those are really good.
Excellent. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Spider-Verse movies. Those are good.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And if you want to go into a rabbit hole of like the different multiverses of the Spider-Man, because I did that. And I was absolutely blown away. You should totally do that.
It's quite the rabbit hole.
It is. I didn't know Marvel could go as dark as it did with some of those rabbit holes. So,
the 90s is a fascinating time for comics as a whole. But yeah, when you get into the Ben Reilly and the Clone Saga and all that, it's wild.
Yeah, I recommend those.
I'm glad you went down there though, because it is fascinating.
I learned quite a lot.
Yeah.
I was
I love it. Well, and I'm gonna recommend the current run of Ultimate Spider-Man, which we've talked about on the podcast multiple times, by Jonathan Hickman. And the Ultimate Universe, like the current one, has been really great throughout, and the basic premise that starts off the Spider-Man series is Peter is in his 30s, married to MJ, and has kids. And he's never been Spider-Man, and so he's just been it, but he always feels like something is missing, and so it shows, okay, what is it like when he becomes Spider-Man as an adult who's a husband and father, and also Uncle Ben is alive, Aunt May is deceased, and Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson are business partners together, and they start their own, I had newspaper, but more like, digital publisher. So it is a fascinating book. I highly recommend. That universe, it will be ending in the next few months, but there's been some great books out there, so highly recommend that one. Yeah. Very cool. Well, Alex, it's such a pleasure recording with you. This has been fantastic.
Yes.
And, this has been awesome. And again, stick around in a minute for, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can listen to the bonus question. But for our free subscribers out there, thank you so much for listening. You all rock. And, again, please like, rate, and review. It really helps the show. Follow us on social media. Support our Patreon if you can. Even just tell your friends about the show if you like it. Hey, we really appreciate that. And remember, we are all a chosen people, a geekdom of beasts.
Hey, podcast fam. Want to stay even more connected with the show? We've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram and Blue Sky, where we're posting exclusive content and bonus videos and fun updates that you won't get anywhere else. From sneak previews of upcoming episodes to bonus content, our social accounts are the best way to keep the conversation going. Plus, it's a great spot for you to interact with other listeners and share your thoughts. We love hearing from you. When you follow us, it helps us grow and continue bringing you the content that you love. Whether it's a funny poll, a quick clip from today's episodes, or just random thoughts, you'll feel more plugged into everything we're doing. So go ahead and hit that follow button on Instagram and Blue Sky. It's one more way to be a part of the show and keep the good vibes flowing. Thanks for being a part of the family, and we can't wait to see you there.
Hello there, listener. Thanks for listening. This is Evan Garcia. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We just wanted to come in and remind you that this episode is part of a bigger network of podcasts called the Anazao Podcast Network. We have great shows like the Whole Church Podcast, Kung Fu Pizza Party, and the Homily with Pastor Chill Will. Chill Will. The podcast has sermons from our host, Pastor Will. Great sermons every time. The Kung Fu Pizza Party is Brandon Knight showing his expertise and his passion for everything Kung Fu films. And he dispenses a bunch of wisdom. Great show. And the Whole Church Podcast, where Josh and TJ interview people from different denominations and church traditions to pursue greater church unity. It's a great podcast to see what other denominations are included. And we just want to say thank you so much for listening. See you next time.